All right, this is Robert Forsch. I wanted to talk about free energy, very controversial topic. The truth, of course. The truth, either it's true or false. It can't be both true and false, or true and a lie. And I want to talk about X.AI, the everything app, and Elon Musk. Tesla, I wanted to actually reach out to Elon once again, and I'll do that through an appeal on my permanent ban on the X platform. I tweeted my research library, a comprehensive AI research library worldwide, to world leaders, influencers, governments, power companies, the medical, military, financial, informational, industrial complexes. And I would say, yeah, they obviously know who I am and what I'm doing. I'm doing this because I want to raise up an army of people that are willing, not just willing, excited to expose the truth about everything that we found out about. The people I want to thank are those that are going to go ahead and do that, as well as the people that have paid for exposing the truth with their lives. Troy Reed, Stanley Meyer, Nikola Tesla, um, Joseph Newman, free energy developers. Imagine, if you will, what would happen in a grid down situation. So I'm going to head on out for a while to, let me see, I want to flip this around without knocking my video off the air. Okay, so we've got streetlights. I'm leaving from my home right now. And to not draw undue attention, I'm going to go ahead and cut my cabin lights off. And I'll be going the speed limit. I haven't decided whether I think I'm going to go ahead and do the city rather than the freeway drive. Reason for that is it'll help illustrate what I'm talking about. What happens in a grid down situation, or if you're in an off-grid setting. Today is March 1st, 2024, and wow, a lot of tragedy worldwide. A lot of things have been going on for a long time. Things as in the manipulation of humanity using high-powered, very sophisticated technology that most people, I would say, are completely unaware that it's happening. They don't know. They don't know that they don't know. And they don't want to be told that they don't know or that they've got it wrong. Pride is a powerful catalyst for deception. That's a fact. Another fact that's really unpopular is there's virtually free energy. I'm going to illustrate how you can get more out than you put in by simply explaining this reality. Gasoline and petroleum distribution, diesel, it takes energy to get that out of the ground and into the tank of the vehicles, whether it's a piece of heavy equipment, a truck, a car, an emergency vehicle. It all requires a certain amount of refining and distribution. What happens when that goes down? Well, it's going to be difficult. What happens when the power goes off? Wherever, whenever. It can happen with a wildfire. Right now, apparently the second largest fire in history is happening in Texas right now. However, there may have been a larger fire than that, depending on what the actual reality is with the timeline deception. Are we actually living after the tribulation and the rapture, tribulation, and the millennial reign of Christ? I believe so. I've got documentation to support that. And people believe largely what they want to believe. I just have a proclivity or a predilection for the truth. It's actually, God gave me a desire, the Almighty gave me a desire to know the truth. to know Him in a powerful way, way of salvation. So I'm gonna go on about quite a few different topics. We're probably going to see the sunrise. It's less than an hour away, or the sun appear. We live on a stationary level Earth. That means we're not spinning, wobbling, gyrating. That's really unpopular too. The truth isn't based on popular opinion. It's not popular. It's not an opinion. It's simply the reality. And can you know it? Can you know the truth? I hope so. The truth may set you free. However, I don't know who you are exactly. What's the status of artificial intelligence? Is it actually artificial? No, I believe probably not. I believe it's so I don't have many opinions at all. I have beliefs that I'm rather certain of, and in the instance that I may be wrong, I extend the invitation to give me feedback. Give me a call, send me a link, put it in a comment. A couple of things, matters of just to help you out with this here. I'm not on just YouTube. I'm on different platforms, or I will be on additional platforms. My name and phone number are computer code to get there. I'm Robert J. Forsch on Instagram, where I'm still able to interact with world leaders and influencers somewhat. You might want to wonder why, or I do, why I'm actually, well, it's not so much a mystery to me, why I'm permanently banned from Twitter, now the X platform. And it's because I was exposing the reality of the world that we live in. The acquisition of the Twitter platform by Elon Musk, I believe, was to control the narrative. And, you know, he's got quite a following, a lot of fans, a lot of fanboys and girls, and AI that he has been involved in creating and directing. And he is a military industrial complex contractor, as well as a space contractor and all of that. So I'm going to unpack a whole bunch of this and how it all fits together, I believe. So some people will say they have an opinion, and then there's different social constructs, like at areas, bars, liquor serving establishments. We don't talk religion or politics, and of course they talk religion and politics, and so there's that. And then there's the reality that Elon has violated X rules, and he's still on the platform. Of course, it's his platform, or it's his sandbox. Going through some cameras right here, so they can see the Truthmobile, of course. The new Truthmobile, this is the Prius economical Truthmobile. I have it for more than the reason of economy. Its reliability, it's got less than a third of the miles of the older Truthmobile that's sitting on my driveway as a place marker, and it's actually a working vehicle. I can use it if I need to. So there's that, and it's more old school with less technology. Okay, so in a situation where the grid goes down, let's say you've got an electric vehicle, where are you going to get your power from to charge your vehicle? So one of the possibilities I wanted to suggest is perhaps, Elon, you should have a mega pack at the charging stations. Why not? You could do that if you wanted to. Oh, and how about actually energy creation at the point of distribution to the Teslas? Oh, and how about adding a free energy generating device 2 Teslas. How about that? Wouldn't that be cool? Well, it's possible. They killed Troy Reed, Stanley Meyer, and I believe Nikola Tesla. Nikola was getting old, but the FBI sure absconded with a lot of his information. It was classified as issue of national security, as well as the free energy devices. I've got copious amounts of perpetual power generating machines in my deep learning AI research library. So when I watched the movie, the documentary, Do You Trust This Computer, I went ahead and stopped it whenever a name came up there, like Jeffrey Hinton or Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and more, David Ferrucci of IBM. I'm not going to name them all. I could name a lot of them. Anyway, I put their names in a Twitter search, and I connected with them, and then I tweeted my deep learning AI research library to them. So I've been concerned about the power that is being wielded by so-called artificial intelligence. It's being used for good and evil in this battle that we're in right now between good and evil. There's a lot of ways that people can lose power. Fire is one of them. Death is another one. What happens when you die? Where will you be? I guess then however many beans and bullets and guns you have really doesn't matter if you're too dead to use any of it. And then where will you be? I mean, people get really bent out of shape. If they've got an unbiblical lifestyle, they're going to explain the Bible away as a thing of fiction, fantasy, an aberration, like unicorns and elves and Santa and Jesus and the Almighty. Well, one of the questions I have for anybody that just explains the way the existence of God is, where did all the stuff come from? Well, and then I've asked that to people more recently, and they said, it's all imaginary anyway. It's all pretty much just information. We live in a simulation. And I would say, well, I agree that we live in a simulation. I do, many simulated possible scenarios, as well as this base reality where I'm driving down Highway 17 in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I'm going to talk some more about these different matters. So I like to go the speed limit. It's a major stress reliever. I go through a lot of, it's interesting. Yesterday there was an old grandpa. He looked like an old grandpa following me real close. I was going the speed limit. Well, he had a major change of perspective when we came over that intracoastal waterway, and there was a law enforcement officer on a motorcycle with the radar pointed right at us. How about that? It's interesting how different variables change our perspective. Oh yeah, how about that? It's either true or not true. How many $300 tickets would I want to get? None. So all my stuff works, and I obey the speed limit, and I obey the laws, and I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I'm exposing the truth that gets people killed. And some would say, oh, Bob, they don't care. The government doesn't care what you're doing. Okay, well, believe whatever you want. Most people do. I've had other friends that have said the only reason you're probably alive still is because you have done it that way. Bill Cooper said, and Stephen Greer have talked about it, get that truth out there. Don't rely on somebody to take a manila envelope to the authorities. The authorities are controlled by the shadow government of the world for the most part. And so are the people that are deceived and don't know it. They're being manipulated too. That's pretty much how it works. So what I am going to do up here at the Barefoot Landing, I'm going to go ahead and pull on in there and show you a small Tesla charging station. I did a little video with somebody that had a Tesla Model 3, and they're in it. They thanked me for putting them in it, gave them a card. I said, imagine if every parking place here was a charging station. Imagine if your car was charging while you were driving. Well, that's possible. How about that? Most people don't know that. The powers that be, the parasite class, don't want people to know that. The Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars document in my research library has over 600 hyperlinks in the comment thread. That's the landing video on my channel. And I've got other versions of it. That was a document that I believe Bill Cooper, helped make public. And they tried to kill him and eventually did. I'm not so concerned with how I'm going to die. I'm primarily concerned with how I'm going to live. And rather than trying to please myself or others, I simply want to obey and do what I'm created to do and let everybody else deal with that, including the fallen angels, the demons. The Almighty protects and directs me. How special is that? So I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of any of that. I'm just simply protected, like I said, and directed by the Holy Spirit who lives in and through me and all of his children that are actually born again now, born of the Holy Spirit. So I've had multiple near-death experiences, some of which were at my own attempt, suicide attempt. In 2005, I survived the pharmaceutical assault on my body, and when I was a boy, 7 years old, Dr. Zuniga diagnosed me with multiple allergies, and they were happy to give me injections for that. I don't know what was in them. In fact, a lot of the injections in the last 4 years, people don't know exactly what was in the one they got. However, there's a lot of high strangeness around all that, and by golly, I've got documentation to back that statement up. You can explore my library and see what you think. Now, the over 600 hyperlinks in the comment thread of the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars video document, audiobook, you can listen to that, and you can go there and see that, oh my gosh, this information would totally be banned on a lot of the platforms, including YouTube. That's right, it would be. However, it's the artificial intelligence is tracking, tracing, databasing, threat assessing all of our digital activity. How thoughtful. So what will it do to us? I don't know. It depends who we are. There are limitations placed on what the enemy of my soul can do to me. So that's a big deal. Otherwise, I would be very afraid, justifiably so. People die around these topics of free energy, world government. Energy is basically, you can listen to it on the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars document. It's the basis for all the activity on Earth. Energy. The acquisition and distribution of energy systems. Let's pull on in here. It's a nice place. It's all lit up. This is Barefoot Landing. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're a couple miles, about a mile from the ocean, approximately. And this will be very busy later on today. A busy year in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, such as 2019, we had over 20 million guests come here from all over the world. I meet them. I'll probably be on Channel 13 for the interview that I was in briefly. I met Holly and talked to her for a while and unpacked some real serious stuff she may want to look into, but as a 20-something-year-old young lady, she's got a career ahead of her, and telling the truth about all that I talk about is not only a career killer, it can be a life ender. So people that are afraid of the authorities or authority, or they just can't go there. They can't do what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the Tesla charging station. It's a little one. I met a gentleman who was working on it, talked to him for a while. Imagine if right in the corner there, that was or next to it, a large electrical generating system. This is the location where I did the video talking about supercharging, free energy. So right there could be a couple of shipping containers, one with a mega pack and another with a generator. Oh, here's the Elvis Porta Potty guy coming. You'll see him. Thank you very much. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. That was part of where I got that whole, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? No, I'm rock solid. I was heard talking about that at the Flat Earth Conference, the Flat Earth International Conference series. I went to all of the events for that. I believe there were 3 of them actually. First one was in Raleigh. I was there, and that's where PewDiePie first put me in a video and triggered Tro. 40 million views later, the world elite know who I am. The parasite class. They're feeding off of our efforts, our labors, subjugating us, manipulating us with silent weapons for quiet wars, informational deception and misdirection, and all that. How about that? How thoughtful. So when about 15 years ago, I found out that we had free energy devices and that we could clean and power the world with water through the technology that Stanley Meyer discovered and developed. Actually, molecularly shattering the bond between oxygen and hydrogen, and then putting it into an internal combustion engine or a cutting torch and cutting steel, melting rock, powering a steam engine, heating a house. Wow, imagine that. Imagine if you didn't have to rely on the power companies. I mean, a lot of people would, because they might live in a high-rise or a condo or a home, an HOA, where it would be tougher for them to do some of that. But there's a lot of people that can live off-grid. In fact, a lot of us might be living off-grid when the grid goes down. I don't know when that'll be. I don't know how this is all going to work out. Ultimately, I believe good has victory, wins, and I'm on the winning team, and I'm wanting to help add more people to that team. When I say help add more people to that team, I don't make it happen. I'm simply a messenger sharing a message to set others free. That's why I do this. So I believe truth matters in the discussion of philosophy and possibilities and the X factor. I believe the truth matters primarily. So I believe it would be beneficial for people to have access to the truth. And you can find a lot of truth in my deep learning AI research library. And as I expose the deception, well, it's there too. So I believe it's only by God's grace that anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. So I believe the Almighty is all-powerful and all-knowing, and I rely on Him to help me navigate through all this grand illusion that we're living in. So we're all pretty much, as far as I can tell, involved in programming the artificial intelligence. It's modeling and hypergaming humanity, all of us. And then apparently it hallucinates or lies or makes shit up. Makes stuff up. How about that? How thoughtful. Oh my gosh, how confusing could it be? Now with the different deep fake technology and Sora and generating media such as movies and video, they don't need the actors or the set, all the money that goes into that. And for many years we've been looking at movies that use green screen and computer technology and computer graphic imagery, all of that. So there's a chemical cocktail that's created in an individual that is happy, mad, sad, glad, afraid. The media system of the world majors on fear, using fear to manipulate humanity into doing things that are not in their own best interest. The past 4 years, there's powerful evidence of that. And I've got documentation about all of that. You can check it out if you like. So, does any of that matter? Absolutely. Oh, how about weaponized immigration? Does that matter? Open borders with military-aged men of countries not happy with the United States? Yet our administration threw out the welcome mat for them. How about that? Emptying out foreign prisons and shipping people on up here, flying them in, boating them in. All kinds of ways they've come in. How thoughtful. It's weaponized immigration. You can watch, if you care to, Leave the World Behind, and there was a lot of very stark similarities, not only to what's going on now, what could happen and what will happen in a societal collapse. So, for example, this car has a robust generator that can power up my deep cycle batteries that I've got nestled away in my little compound there with, let me see, an inverter that can run my electrical appliances to keep my food from spoiling, and I've got quite a bit of extra gas to feed the car, and I can hop in here and have climate control if I so desire. This is a Mediterranean climate for the most part, but I've got oil lamps and propane and all kinds of additional redundant preparations to deal with this societal collapse that's, I would say, imminent, could happen at any time. And I'm not just planning on singing Kumbaya and inviting everybody along that was ill prepared for it. I can't do that. I may extend some relief for people, but I have to use a lot of discretion. I can't have anybody else living with me because it's a security risk. Anybody can be taken over. Anybody that's not born of the Holy Spirit can be taken over by this AI system that manipulates humanity with brain-computer interface. Oh, it sounds crazy. Yeah, well, it's true. We live in a physiological biofield. We've got a physical body. Those of us that do, the AI, well, can actually inhabit individuals, linking up their brain with the cybernetic collective of humanity and manipulate it with quantum supercomputers. Well, DARPA, the Department of Defense, Dr. James Giordano of neuroethics and brain science and all that. I was following so many of them on the X platform. Can't do it anymore. Can't message them. Can't even say hi. On some of them, I've gone to their channels and different videos they're on. However, the AI can block a video or a comment. It may let me see, and it may look like the comment's there, but if I go to add a period after the end of my comment and it's showing an error sign, I know that there's some funny business going on. It shows up that the comment isn't there. And one of the most challenging things to do is to change somebody from believing the lie to believing the truth. It's actually an impossibility. It's out of my control. However, bumping into people and handing them my card and say, you might want to take a look at this. Some will devour it voraciously and call me and tell me they're glad they met me or not. Yeah, I'm simply just doing what I was created to do. So I'm on my way to the Coastal Grand Mall. They've got a Tesla supercharging station there. Now that area has a lot of real estate around it where there could be a power station as well. But does Elon want to do that? I'm not going to flippantly say that's exactly what he should do. I would like to see him born of the Holy Spirit and walk away from the situation I believe he's in now. I don't know that he can. I don't know that anybody can. Did he sell his soul for fame and fortune? I don't know. Now, for those that claim that they've already done that, let's see, Katy Perry is one of them publicly. Bob Dylan, can that change? You know, there's a lot of one-eye symbolism and the Illuminati, and let's see, who was it that, Lord Rothschild passed away recently. Jacob Rothschild, he sent me a friend request, or was it just an Illuminati bot on Facebook? Probably. Did Danica Patrick of Indy 500 car fame actually send me or follow me on Instagram, or is it a fake private profile? Probably a fake private profile. And yet the AI is watching that and is noticing, boy, he's really on that, isn't he? I knew within seconds when I was booted off the X platform. It's around 4:15 in the morning in May of last year. Well, I thought that that the X platform Twitter was the free speech oasis or the digital town hall of the world. And Elon wanted to create a supercomputer that was curious and wanted to know the truth. Interesting. Well, I certainly want to know the truth and expose it. And I've had a lot of help from the actual system that I'm exposing. It can be used for good and evil. It can be used for mass instruction or mass deception, weapons of mass deception. Yeah, how about that? So our wars are based on lies, typically, and there's a lot of funny business, a lot of deception going on around all the wars. That's the way it is. It's the way it's been for a long, long time. In fact, you can read where deception entered our realm. Apparently, the fallen one, Lucifer, wanted to be large and in charge and dethrone the Almighty, and the Almighty cast him to earth, along with a third of the angels, which are now fallen angels. How about that? How special. Let's. I'm gonna pull into Barefoot at the Beach. It's a pretty cool place. Now the water seeking level is a big deal. There's huge water. How would I say? Like canals or a moat carved around the mall. The high point in the mall area is towards the middle, and all of the water slopes away to either the outer edge or the center that has water in it that will lead to, when it reaches a certain level, then it will fill up this waterway around the park here, Broadway at the Beach. I've seen it where the water is really filled up. Let me just show you part of what I'm talking about with that. Let me drop this down. Okay, see that those three large orifices, and then this area all around it can handle massive amounts of water. Oh, I want to show you something here too. See, I've got a generator on here charging my battery. Now, like I was mentioning, if I want to charge up my deep cycle batteries at home, I can have my garage door down. This car will idle and charge my generator, and I can have a hose going up into the apex of my roof vent on my house. So it would be virtually silent. This is a quiet car as it is. In my garage that's insulated and having a hose running out my attic, that'd be no problemo for me to do that. Otherwise, when somebody fires up a generator, they're loud, a typical generator. For many years, like since I was 10 years old, my parents took me to the Experimental Aircraft Association fly-in. Oh, now this right here, let me show you this. Look at how the water can run under that bridge and off into a swamp. So the water, the elevation, the grade just needs to be a little bit higher. That's all. In the case of a tsunami that could be sent in by a blast wave generating technology, a submarine burst, an underwater burst of maybe a hydrogen bomb, a thermonuclear weapon, or the blast wave generating technology, sending a tsunami in here. Well, it couldn't handle that. We had a huge wall of water come in. Now we've got law enforcement over there. That's nice. I like that. Off to the side. Look at that. How psychedelic is that? I thought that'd be pretty cool. Let me see where I can put this so we can get a nice view of it. I think that's pretty cool. That all is artificial. It's the brains behind that would be artificial intelligence, regulating the light activation, the movement, all of that. And then people will see that. There's a guy watching me over there. You probably no, you couldn't see him, but he's going to be doing security for here, wondering what the heck I'm doing. Probably that's okay. I don't mind. So part of what will happen is there will be kids driving by with their parents, and they're going to go, oh, look at that. And then that'll be part of the attraction. They'll come on by and they'll eat cotton candy and ice cream and go on rides and have a lot of fun, perhaps. There's also a jet boat here too that people can ride on. Here's the gentleman walking. He's on the security staff, it says. So then let's take us around to some of the other areas. Ripley's Ripley's Aquarium is here too. Ripley's, believe it or not. In a little bit, when I get out of here, we'll go by the Hollywood Wax Museum with King Kong hanging out on the building. There's an IMAX here as well, and some pretty mind-blowing rides, actually. Okay, so like for example, right here, there's some construction project going on. With the way things are, there could be a setup for, oh, there's a lot of remodeling going on in there. Cool. They could have power generating stations. Nikola Tesla developed basically free energy, or discovered it. We've got Antiquitech and a lot of mystery with history and technology. The system likes it that way. They want to be in control of every aspect of our life. And apparently they want a lot fewer lives to control. The herd is too large for them to manage. So they're culling the human herd. So there's genocide with wars and death by putting toxins in the food, water, air, and activating it with electronics. That's all happening. Sounds crazy, yet it's true. There's the IMAX right there in the middle of the view. So that looks like a 40-foot shipping, maybe not a 40-foot, maybe a 20, I believe a 20-foot shipping container. 40-foot is huge. So one of the reasons why like if I go less than 20 miles an hour in here and I've got a fully charged battery, I'm running on just the battery power, which is pretty cool. And straight in the middle of the view is the ocean on the right where you see those condos there or the hotels, they're oceanfront. So we've got the new Myrtle Beach International Airport, which is a short distance from the Coastal Grand charging station. Take a look at what your energy consumption budget is monthly between fuel and electricity and a combination of the two. I would think for many households it's between $300 and $800. Wow, that's a lot of money. And then multiply that by billions of people that have that level of consumption. That's a lot. That's a lot of money spent. So when I ordered the Cybertruck, I thought, well, if Elon wants to provide abundant, clean, free energy, I can show him how to do it. I'm sure not only is he aware of it, the Department of Defense is, that classified all these technologies as matters of national security. So they black shelved it. So there's conspiracies that are actual and true around the suppression of information related to free energy and more. Up on the left is the King Kong on the Hollywood Wax Museum, and there's the Grand Prix, Broadway Grand Prix go-kart track. Pretty cool. So what's going to happen during a collapse of the world as we know it? Are people going to be vacationing? Some may. They may come here and do that. I don't know. It's not up to me. There's the haves and the have-nots, and that divide is growing and growing. And then the 1,000 or so jets that flew into Davos. I sent, there are only 1,000 jets. I sent my my research library to more than 1,000 X accounts, the power brokers of the world, because I could. I think it's obvious why Elon had to shut me the heck up. It's unplugging that whole connection, that distribution and interaction that I can't do with those people through that venue anymore. Kimball, Musk, and Tosca, in May, I've been able to direct message on Instagram. I would think if I got anywhere near any of those power brokers, the system would know and alert them, I would think. Wouldn't you? I'm not creeping on them. I mean them no harm. I'm not a groupie. None of that. I just want to help humanity make an informed choice on eternity based on reality, instead of all the fakery, instead of all the grand illusion that people are under. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, including the fallen ones and the artificial intelligence, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a strong delusion. What does that look like? Well, something other than the truth. That's what it looks like. Just went by the Palmetto State Armory. A lot of weapons go through there. They distribute a huge amount of weapons and ammunition. That's nice. I like that. I like that a good way to stop a bad guy with the gun is for the good guy or gal to have the gun. You can't just tell them to behave. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to happen. So these immigrants, the weaponized immigration from other countries, they're not so sympathetic or empathetic to our lifestyle. In fact, many of them may be able to have the real estate and cars and homes that are going to be vacated by people that are no longer with us because they're too dead. They've been culled, either medically or ballistically. We can see what our government did on, for example, around Katrina. Oh yeah, we got to take all your weapons away because there's marauding looters, and you law-abiding citizens, yeah, you can't have your guns anymore. I've seen a meme that says, I have my guns so they can't take my guns, or something like that. It's hilarious, but true. Tragic, but true. I'm a Second Amendment enthusiast. And I can do that. I can legally carry, and I do. I believe everybody should. So a gun-free zone is an easy target, pun intended. They like it that way. Well, that's a vacant building, it looks like. I believe it was a Sears. I'm not sure. Commercial real estate is having some hiccups. Malls are having some problems. There's been a move to purchase a lot of goods online. Oh wow, there's the red Tesla again. Huh. Heck, they may be living in that car for all I know. That was there a couple days ago when I did this South Carolina plate. Okay, so I don't know how much reserve, if any, that this charging station has in the cabinets. Probably not much, if any. But you could have like a mega pack here, Elon, if you want. Tesla Energy. When I type Nikola Tesla, I like to capitalize Tesla. Wow. Nikola Tesla sure got shafted, taken advantage of. You can see what the power structure of the world did to him. Tragic. Absolutely tragic. That's a Model S. Very nice. So, according to my calculations, the sun would appear in the middle of the view there. Of course, it's not going to for a while, simply well, it already is up. Just can't see it because of the clouds. So when the sun is low on the horizon, it will go through more atmosphere, particulate, humidity, gases, whether it's nitrous oxide, helium, argon, whatever trace gases are in the atmosphere. Ah, a couple of geese there. Oh, nice. I've got geese and swans in my backyard too. Geese and swans and turtles and bullfrogs and all that. I've got some people that I follow on YouTube that are yellers. They They're like yell. I'm not going to yell. The people that are deceived largely don't know it. Let's flip this around. And I'm not saying that the yellers are deceived. They may just want to enunciate a little stronger. Okay, so what do we have here? Square D, Schneider Electric. Ooh, that one's not locked. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to touch it, but I want to show you something. Which one of these is not like the other? The one on the right has a lock that is not securing that panel. You may want to send somebody out to secure that. I'm sure that would be a safety thing. I want nothing to do with touching it or closing it. No way. No touchy. I smell trouble. Just like the January 6th, I didn't want to be anywhere near Washington. I could have driven there. There's no way I would have wanted to be a part of that obvious psychological setup to manipulate humanity, take away rights. It's what they do. They're good at it. Problem, reaction, solution. That's the way it works. So here's, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Pretty cool. Was able to charge up my battery with slowing down energy, braking, and then my climate control will operate on that. Now we've got a, I'm going to show you something here. We've got a semi. It's a shorter semi. It's a short haul. It's for local food service and that type of thing, but it'll still illustrate what I wanted to talk about. In 2005, while recovering from a near fatal suicide attempt, I had penned out on a legal pad how there could be a hybrid or electric semi, and then on the trailer you could have regenerative braking on the trailer wheels right there, and then the opportunity space that's right there could have a large battery, could be all charged up with 0-point energy harvesting and so forth. How cool is that? And then it can be autonomous, and will be. There's autonomous semis right now. Means they can drive themselves. Fighter jets, autonomous weapons, autonomous tanks, all that. I've got them on my channel, you can see that. So the nature of this tractor is it does not have a cab for sleeping on it. It's got a refrigeration unit on it, and it's a shorty for navigating through food service in that. So there's not a lot of room there, and it's not a long haul situation, but there's still room for a massive battery under there to run the climate control for the cabin and the dry box, all of that. So back in Y2K, what the heck's going to happen, I had extrapolated from going to alternative energy fairs in Amherst, Wisconsin. I had gone there for decades, seeing how to build things more energy efficient, how you could have a solar cooking stove, cooking with the sun. I can cook in the Truthmobile out on the driveway in summertime. It'll get over 180 degrees in there. Well, anyway, that was part of where I thought, wow, I could have a big battery on a household and then run electrical appliances with an inverter. I did, to prepare for Y2K, we lived on a farmette that used to have the over 100 acres around it, built out of 2x4 oak 2x4s that were hewn and sawed right in that area, and a post and beam construction on the barn that we had too, and we had large outbuildings and all of that. Had a generator, about 80 some face cords of hardwood, and a wood stove to keep us from freezing to death, and an oil furnace, and there were a lot of redundancies to take care of surviving. How about that? So now that I live pretty much by myself with my cats in where the home is that I drove from, I'm still married man, not shopping, not looking around for anybody else. I would like it to be her, with an emphasis on the truth, yet the truth is too painful apparently for her to look into. So I point out that she's willfully unaware or willfully ignorant. Ignorance sounds so abrasive, doesn't it? It does. Willfully ignorant, but it's where people don't want to look into something that's uncomfortable. So there's cognitive dissonance that's like a warning sign for them. Oh, that's too painful to look into, so they don't. I understand it. I don't agree with it, don't like it. I acknowledge it. It's a reality. So there's a lot of different ways I could go home. I'm just going to randomly choose this one. There's a certain amount of randomness that I like to apply, or last minute decision making. Keep in mind that most of the people alive on Earth right now can be manipulated and led to do things by the AI supercomputers. That is just mind-blowing. It's bi-directional. It's two-way. How about that? Okay, so there's a monster cell tower right in the middle of the view. And it's got plenty of equipment, plenty of real thick wires. There's ground wave emergency network towers, Gwen towers they call them, and a lot of the experimentation was done in Gakona, Alaska with the HARP technology. And then there's the NEXRAD radar technology that manipulates the weather, and evaporative water generators in Mississippi with NASA operating it. Then there's the NASA war document you can listen to if you care to. It's a powerful reality that very few people know of. I've been trying to get my wife Joni to listen to the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars document for almost about 7 or 8 years now. She won't do it. It's an hour and 5 minutes long to listen to. She will not do it. We homeschooled our sons. I worked at a full-time ministry, led character development classes at a mega church, all while struggling with the flesh, and I found out why. I struggled with the flesh so much because that's all I had. So I thought I was born again in 1982 until I actually was in 2014. I didn't even know that was a thing until it happened to me. So if you see somebody that's spreading Jesus all over what they do, and they've got a lot of unbiblical beliefs and behaviors, it might be that they're spiritually deader than a hammer like I was, and they don't even know it. I didn't know it until I had more power, a lot more power. Let's flip this around. So if you've been on this live stream, or you're on it now, or you're watching it from later, it would be cool if you want to put any comments in the once it turns into a video. The other thing too is that this video, you can see live streams is a whole category on my channel of videos that I've done, and then there's the uploaded videos category. And then I've got a few playlists and featured channels that you can explore if you care to. Sometimes people make it really difficult to merge. I just take a deep breath and enjoy the ride. When they're speeding in the merging lane, makes it a little challenging. I can handle it. I could go really fast on a racetrack or here, but here I run the risk of getting a ticket. Don't want that. So what I found out in motocross racing is it was a whole lot easier to get in front of everybody else at the beginning of the race, and then if they were faster than me, they had to work to get around me, and that happened, of course. But I did really good. I raced professional level motocross. You might think, well, what does that have to do with anything? That's okay. You can wonder if you want, but I'll explain some of it. I got a book called How to Win Motocross by Gary Bailey. I learned a lot. I learned about physiology and how to release lactic acid by exercising different muscles when I was racing, standing or sitting, or a combination of the two. I learned how to make the straightaways a lot longer and having the, wound out full throttle as long as I could, hard braking, pivoting, and going. Well, so my first race, I won. I got first place. My second race on a 2.5 mile track, I lapped everybody else up to third place, I believe it was. I was so much faster than everybody else. And this may sound like bragging. I'm just simply explaining how it happened. Because it's relevant, I ended up practicing with professional motocross racers. They actually toured the country and raced with the professionals like Bob Hanna and Marty Smith and others, Marty Tripes. Some of these people have passed on. They're no longer with us anymore. Where did they go? What happened to them? I don't know. A lot of strangeness in this world, a lot of pain and suffering. So anyway, my mom and dad have transitioned. They've moved on, passed away. My mom over 30 years ago, and she said, Bobby, if the cancer doesn't get you, the treatment will. And I've got somewhat of a photographic memory. I remember a lot, not all of it. I remember it like pictures, like movies, video clips. I have ever since I can remember, pun intended. Well, I remember them taking photos of me and that when I was racing, and I also remember her telling me when she was in cancer treatment that the doctor said she could eat whatever she wants. Well, knowing what I know now about human physiology and neurology and all of that, brain function and body function, that's about the worst advice a medical professional could give to a patient. Eat whatever you want. However, they're not big on selling spinach and broccoli and organic foods. They may give lip service, and they do. Eat right and exercise. Have you heard it before? But they don't get much training on nutrition. in the Rockefeller medicine. So my dad sold steel to the military-industrial complex, Oshkosh Truck, Oshkosh Defense. I messaged them, my library and all that, too, as well as Lamborghini, Ferrari, Chevy, GM, Pierce Fire Truck Manufacturing. Well, anyway, Oshkosh Trucks, this big military platform that actually has a large diesel generator and big electric motors, much like a locomotive has. So it's like a locomotive with rubber tires, and it can go on the road, on-road, off-road, all of that. And I knew about that when I was a 10-year-old boy. When I was 7 years old, my dad explained to me what planned obsolescence was. He worked with engineers, he was an inventor, and he was a public relations salesperson extraordinaire. And I learned a lot from him. And he also did automated trading in the stock market. He showed me, Bobby, you can have your automatic buys and sells all set up. And I took note of that, and how he was able to take a little bit of money and turn it into a lot of money. What he didn't turn any of it into was long-term care insurance. So when he had open heart surgery after a stroke, or I should say a heart attack, then it led to a stroke that disabled him. So it was kind of complicated and painful to watch. Now these people look like they really know what they're doing. They left each other enough space, and it's easy to merge in and all that. And then undoubtedly there will be somebody somewhere along the line that's going to be zooming in and out of traffic and creating all kinds of potential trouble. So now I'm just in the right lane going the speed limit. And everybody else can do what they can do. It's so relaxing, comparatively speaking. And will I see any speed traps? Perhaps, but I've got something to clue you into. The AI knows exactly what speed I'm going, and if it matches up with my odometer or not. It's not just that they're watching me, they're watching everybody. All our cell phones. You know, if I were to have a printout of all the cell phones in the world. Okay, show me all the cell phones in the world. Show me all the cell phones that are going over 100 miles an hour. How about over 500 miles an hour? Well, those are people flying. Where are they going to? Oh, they're unarmed people for the most part, unless they're on a private jet where they can have their own private security team, and they can be carrying weapons themselves, the jet setters. And they can fly to areas that the commoners don't even know about, perhaps. Are there lands beyond? Probably. You know, we've got the continents and the map and the globe that we're given. Are there other lands that don't have the welcome mat for us? Yeah, how about that? It's just the way it is. But so this is one of the big, death is the big equalizer. So the welcome mat is not thrown open or put out there for Satan's children in heaven. They get the welcome mat in hell. It's the way it is. Now, I care enough about obeying God that I'll put my life on the line to hand that invitation out to all of humanity, potentially. That's what this live stream is. It's potentially to anybody in the world. And this video, although it's not posted into my playlist yet, it's accessible through the live stream category. If you went to my channel right now, it would show that this video is live. If you click on live, I believe it'll show up for you. And then it'll be archived. Let's flip this around, show you what this looks like. Komatsu, big equipment truck there. And then this one looks like dry material for cement. Just add water, aggregate. You can build concrete homes, bridges. An insulated concrete home takes a fraction of the energy to climate control. In fact, you can have it be a huge thermal sink, dig it deep into the ground, waterproof it, and you can have a subterranean shelter there that is very fortified and easy to climate control. And then you can have a variety of energy generated, electricity generated. So you can only get so much from the sun and the wind, and then there's permanent magnet generators. And those generators can operate 24/7. And if you've got one in your vehicle, perpetually driving your electric vehicle and storing a little extra, well, by golly, you can have a generator that you're driving, and you could visit a friend, and if you've got it bidirectional, so you can power a house or get power from the house, that's all doable, all possible. That's why I ordered the Cybertruck. I wanted to actually go on a tour with it. I don't know that that'll ever happen, to display the benefits of having a portable power generating system. How cool would that be? We're actually supposed to move over to let people merge, not drive through a lot faster to make it such a challenge to get in there. However, the human condition is largely self-centered, and to such a degree that at the highest level, they're sociopaths. And I'm exposing them. So there is premeditation in what's been going on the last 4 years. This is 2024. It goes back a lot longer than that. In fact, if you want to explore even further, you can see that from recorded history, and I'm including the biblical narrative, it's been going on for a long time. And these spiritual entities, the Holy Spirit and the fallen one, and the representatives of both families, can inhabit people, and do. That's a $300 ticket right there. That's about 80. I'm going 65. Ooh, road debris. Just a tire. I've got to be careful when I'm riding the motorcycle, especially at the first and the middle of the month. More tire blown up. So there's a lot of moving that goes on around the middle of the month and the beginning of the month. Sometimes people are not real conscientious about how they load their load. So stuff blows out. Refrigerators, shelving units, TVs and cushions, and all kinds of stuff. So situational awareness is really important. Uh-oh. I don't know how to get that off the screen. This happened to me yesterday. I don't even know what I just did there. Wow, that is pretty wild. Oh, it's some kind of a filter thing. Okay, I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it there for now. I don't even know if I can flip it around. Anyway, I would like to. I'd like to show you where I'm driving. Wow, I'm almost home. So one thing for sure is the open road is a lot more comfortable to drive on. It's a lot easier. Share, cancel. No, I don't want to end my recording just yet. Boy, I bumped something. Know how to. Oh, let's see what bubbles look like. Oh my gosh. That's pretty wild. So I'm going to test some of these out. Look at those filters. What the heck? That one was pretty cool. Yeah, I can walk and chew gum and drive a car at the same time. No problemo. That's probably the most natural look. That's all artificial intelligence generated stuff there. So I'll test this out later. I'll be able to see it on the big screen. Just want to get it the heck off of there is what I want to do. Yep, so that was bizarre. Yeah, I've been able to keep it in between the lines in that too, but I typically am not reading comments. So if there's something you want to communicate to me, you can call me afterwards, or, well, you could call me now. It'll just go into my voicemail, that's all. Oh, that's nice and warm. Ah, I finally got it off of there. Oh my gosh, what a hassle that was. Glad that's over with. Okay, so let's see, I'm gonna just head on back home. Or should I go to the beach? I like the way that looks. So I can't make all this stuff. However, I can open up my phone and have a digital rendering of it and an archiving of it, as long as it doesn't get taken down. The big story is not just what I'm talking about, it's what I found and share. I have to speak in somewhat veiled, convoluted speech so I don't get taken down, violate the community standards. They'd be happy to take me down, and they could if the Almighty allows it. That's the point of that. So until it's time, I get to keep on doing this. So I will. Now today it's 48 degrees. It'll get up to 60 or so, and it's going to be cloudy and then rainy in the afternoon, on and off. That'll be just fine. So there's the cement truck pulling into the Thomas, I believe it is, the Thomas Cement Company, Thomas Concrete. Do we make a difference? Does what we do matter? I would say absolutely. Can affect people's lives in a very powerful way. What we do or don't do, how we do it. So this is rush hour. More traffic will be coming from the other way, but some going out of town here. I don't know if it makes you nervous when I'm driving. I check my mirrors and my blind spots often. I'm going to go out of town for a little bit. There's a lot of development that's been happening here, so what's up with that? A lot of homes being built, subdivisions being put up. It's not that way everywhere, I can tell you that. And this is where I ended up at this point in time. I'm grateful for it. I like living here. I love it, actually. Oh, I got somebody that wants to go a little faster than me. But I don't want to pull behind the dump truck just yet. That's okay, you can deal with it. People get so mad. They should practice more better time management. That's what I would say. There's a water tower. You put the water up high and then you develop pressure. It can keep filling it up. But the thing is, you can't fill it up if you don't have electricity. That's the point of that. We've got a society that relies on electricity. So even though Grandma and Grandpa maybe did with less electricity, I'm sure, our society isn't built for that right now. I don't know if you've seen this, but on the back of a lot of trucks it says not responsible for windshields being broken. Although I've got insurance, it's going to cost me a few $100 if I get a big stone break in my windshield, if it cracks my windshield. It was the luck of the draw. I wouldn't have a problem being closer to a car, but not a dump truck hauling gravel. Oh gosh, I'm sure he's going to be all upset with me. Maybe end signal out. I don't know. No, I didn't even get the hairy eye from him, the evil eye. I'm going to get over. But see, now it slows down to 45. It's a whole different deal. Reminds me of my friend Ralph. He was worth almost $100 million in 82. He said, you know, Bob, I prefer Robert, just so you know, but he called me Bob. Anyway, he said, you know how much the rich want? He said, a little more. Just a little more. Just like the people that want to go a little faster. They want to try and push you. Well, I'm not big into that. And so it isn't that I'm trying to highlight my lack of cooperation, or I simply, I guess to a certain extent I want to. There are people in this world that are very easy to manipulate because they want to please others and they don't want conflict. And so it was funny, I was watching Redacted yesterday, and Natalie mentioned a Sigma male. And a Sigma male, I found out that I fit the description, or at least somewhat of. It's not that I'm trying to be difficult, I'm just not that concerned about other people's feelings if it means that I've got to compromise my integrity to make them happy. I'm not going to do it. They can deal with their own issues of whatever. As human beings, we've got a lot of issues. We could have, they can be mommy or daddy issues, and oh, I can see a Tesla up there. I wonder where they got their electricity from. So, for example, I've got a friend who's got a beautiful white Model 3, and now it's about 12 cents per kilowatt at home, and then around 40 cents at a supercharger. So that's a substantial profit margin. And I would imagine that Elon or Tesla is able to buy the electricity for even less. There's the Model Y doing a turn right there. Beautiful cars. I've got friends that just don't like them. They don't like Tesla. They don't like Elon. They don't want to hear about free energy. They just want to know something else. And it's like, well, it's part of the equation. He's only he's the publicly, apparently the wealthiest person in the world. Not exactly accurate. However, it's not just him, it's the system that he represents. So there's Neuralink technology, and it's really complicated to make a robot. One of the things that's going on with Neuralink is you can hear Elon talk about it, the N3 program, or the non-invasive, where actually a neural lace can be injected into the person and it interact with the brain, and then, as I found out, can be manipulated by the technology, by supercomputers. So it's two-way, it's bi-directional. So I had somebody either from the FBI or pretending to be from the FBI, and he said, do you know about Neuralink? And I said, I do. He said, would you like some inside information? I said, well, yeah. However, the problem with inside information from the FBI is it's likely to be disinformation or misinformation. They're real good at manipulating people that don't have a lot of situational awareness. Was it actually a representative from the FBI or just somebody pretending to be? Probably somebody pretending to be. I wanted to pull in here because I saw something in the in the background that I can use to illustrate what I was talking about with the water seeking level. Okay, so here's a brand new, it's called Meritage Homes. Okay, so let's go this way. They've got to see the houses are up a little higher than the road, probably 1.5 to 2 feet. And then how did they cause that to happen? How did they do that? Well, there's water retention ponds. There's one to the left, which is like in my neighborhood, where they dig a hole in the ground, water fills it up, they take the dirt from that hole, and then they put it on the home sites. And then it's all graded in such a way that the water doesn't flood the homes. And then in the upper left, over on the left side as I'm approaching it, there is a huge pile of dirt, and that will go on the home sites. Interesting. So this is another easy illustration to, I wanted to show you the uh, wood construction. There's a substantial truss network or a build in that roof system. In insulated panel concrete construction, you can have it. Oh, that was the truck that was kind of following me close. That's cool. Anyway, we've got the porta potty there and the porta potty here from Elvis. Thank you very much. And we probably won't have basements here. They're all on, how would I say, a slab. And that truss is a lot of wasted space. They'll put climate control and plumbing and all that in there. And that cat there will dig a big hole in the ground. That's how they do this. And I think I'm gonna go back over this way. How do things actually work? That was that was part of the motivation for me to look into this. How does it actually work? So there's a lot of site excavation that creates these elevated home sites, and then the roadway that's at a different grade, and then they'll use artificial intelligence, computer technology, and laser sighting to set it all up. And then there's corresponding technology on a lot of the equipment. I did recording of the beach renourishment out at the ocean front, where you can see the equipment operating out there. These guys are marking home sites, and maybe for plumbing and wiring and all that. You can see the pipes coming up out of the ground. Just give them a nice friendly wave and go on my way. And so this equipment here is designed for specific purposes, of course. And obvious, we've got the road grader and the compactor, and then I'll just pull on up here a bit. So you can see in the view right there in the middle, we've got on the far right, it's a much smaller backhoe. And let me move this over. That one's even smaller in there. And a design, the Caterpillar wanted my dad to work for them in Illinois, but he didn't want to go there. Ooh, ground is getting really soft. I'm not going any further in there. So this road grader is probably about 30,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight. Wisconsin area, they'll use a road grader and compressor to go ahead and just grade the gravel roads. Yeah, I think I'm going to follow this on through. It's not too bad. So all this so-called site work has been done. It looks like it's ready for homes to get put on them, and when people negotiate their financing and pick out their house plan from the choices at the model, they'll be able to have it put together. However, I don't know if they're offering, I would think they're probably not offering insulated concrete construction here. So that's normally a custom home. Now the Grand Dunes in Myrtle Beach has insulated concrete homes and celebrities that live there or have a home there. Millionaires, maybe billionaires, who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's flip this around. Bigger backhoe, but not as big as the biggest one. And now we've got the concrete truck. I don't want to get in the way of any of those guys doing their job. I'm just driving through here and showing you stuff. Now there is a Caterpillar earth mover. That's pretty cool. That was one of my favorite Tonka toys, was an earth mover. And when I was a boy, my dad would pull over to road projects and show me how they were doing it. This is a concrete curber. You dump the concrete in there and it makes a curb like the one on the left over there. Thank you very much. Elvis Porta Potty and the Elvis office there for the construction site. They're easy to secure. So if that, what is so nice about an insulated concrete panel construction is you can have an insulated vaulted ceiling with more internal space, and it's extremely entered the warmth or the temperature from the earth. So it's a more stable temperature, the earth is. And one of the problems with the wood buildings, they burn. They burn right the slap up. And we've got, right now we've got Texas on fire. Maybe it's gone out somewhat. A lot of people lost their homes. There's probably undocumented people that are gone. They may be found. They may not be found. I don't know. God knows. And they're pouring concrete right there. So probably are the people that have gone out to pasture in the retirement home sites like this. The people that lived up north, moved here and retired. They're not pouring concrete. They're not making roads, asphalt roads. they're probably not even mowing their own lawn. They're probably having a lawn service that's very likely Hispanic as well. So I'm not saying that any immigration is bad. We have a path for immigration. What we have now though is weaponized immigration, and it's dangerous. It's not lawnmowers and concrete contractors that I'm concerned with. It's Chinese military people that have crossed over at the north end of the Darien Gap, and you can see Brett Weinstein talking to Tucker Carlson about it. And then I've got friends that, oh, I don't want to hear any Tucker Carlson. He's a shill. He's controlled opposition. I'm like, just give it a rest and hear the information. So I'm not so concerned with who's a shill or controlled opposition per se. I just want to hear the truth, and it resonates. The truth resonates for what it actually is. Some people can't hear it. They can't find their rear end with their hands, so to speak. They're believing if I were to move everybody out of my playlist or my research library that I suspected had less than noble intentions, it would be pretty barren. So I'm exposing the truth and the deception, the truth tellers and the liars. There's driver training. How about that? Oh, you know what? I can pick it up to 60. That's what it is here. Now, this is a home site that is not as far along. You can see that there. Now, not too long ago, it was covered by a lot of trees. So they'll come in, and my dad sold steel to a company that made a hydro axe. Now this is an asphalt company, and they don't have a sleeper on it. That's local truck travel, typically, kind of thing. Anyway, the hydro axe that my dad talked about, he sold steel to. It would snip off a tree and grab it and lay it down, and then it would run through other machines, big machines that would turn trees into chips quickly if they were of that variety, or they would get loaded up and hauled to International Paper in Georgetown and turned into cardboard, and on and on and on. We've got a network of activity that takes place all over this world. I could sit at the table with them, but they don't want me there. I put myself there, in their sandbox, in Elon's sandbox, and Klaus Schwab. I told them that I'm telling on them. Now, are any of them gonna break ranks? I don't know. That's not my call. So some of the people that are working for Satan may end up working for the Almighty. That would be cool. But here's the coolest part about it. The Almighty, Satan will use who and what he can. He's an opportunist. He'll use whatever he can. The Almighty will use it all, including Satan and his children, the fallen ones, AI. He'll use it all. The Almighty uses it all, however he chooses. So I would like to help people that are maybe sitting on the fence, taking a look at what's going on, or just getting kind of like a wake-up call and going, man, I didn't know this was happening. Oh yeah, it's better. It's more exciting than any video game, movie, romantic comedy, or a thriller. It's a trip. All of it is a trip. Now here's a gravel hauler with a sleeper on it. They may be hauling gravel or blacktop, and maybe they need to take a breather. Maybe they need to sleep. It can happen. Normally on a project like that, there's a place where you can sleep, and some of these truckers live on the road. They don't even, I know of some that didn't even have a residence. They would maybe have a storage unit, but they would be able to live on the road. Some do that, and it can be a lonely life. I'm sure I've met some of them at the waysides or the truck stops and all of that. I like driving. Driving a small, economical, aerodynamic vehicle is nice. Driving a big truck with heavy equipment, it's a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot tougher. So up on the left, I remember when this place was open, and I pulled in there to get fuel like 30 years ago. Follow the money. The people in control of the money that create the money out of thin air want you to follow the money. It's not without its merit. You can learn a lot by following the money trail. However, since they can create abundant money out of thin air, it's easy to frame somebody. It's also easy to compromise somebody. It happens. So you can take a look at the Epstein case, and there's a whole lot of talk about the salacious sexual details with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, what you should also know is that he was a money manager for a lot of billionaires and eugenics programs that were dealing with genetically modifying humanity. And then there was a honey trap around all of that activity with his private island and sex trafficking and Ghislaine Maxwell and all of that. The Maxwell family, you can see the wonderful job that Really Graceful did to explain a lot of that network of spying and manipulating. And TruthStream Media has done a spectacular job of exposing so much. Those are two of my featured channels on my channel. They're professionals, and they've created content that is spectacular. Now, if it was God's purpose, the Almighty's purpose for me to be a YouTuber like that, well, I would have a lot that I would need to learn how to do, but I don't need to. That content already exists. So I'm not all hung up with how flashy my thumbnail is or how catchy my title is. My title today was actually to send a message to the AI that I'm going to be talking about Tesla, Elon Musk, XAI, my permanent ban from there, and I'm appealing that. Regularly, I'll copy and paste my whatever I want to send them for my appeal. It's kind of funny. About 9 years ago, I told our oldest son like this. I said, can you teach me how to copy and paste? I believe it would be useful. And he chuckled and he said, Command C, Command V. And I said, this world will never be the same. And it's not that I had been wondering about it for a long time. I just discovered the possibility of conveying a lot of information quickly with that process. So when I encountered the limitation of Twitter with 240 characters, I thought, man, I can't get it done in 240 characters unless it's a link to my YouTube channel, which is a link to the information in the world that I want to share with everybody I can, including Dr. Evil, Herr Klaus Schwab, and all those people. Imagine if he were to go, "Oh, Scheiss, I'm wrong." What if he discovers that he's working for the wrong team? A lot of the billionaires and trillionaires at the highest level have inverted the good and the bad. They've got it wrong, as best I can tell. And with divine irony in play, God will take anybody that he wants and give them an upgrade like I got, and then he'll use me to do what he created me to do. And why would I want any less than to cooperate 100% as best I can? There are times when I fail, and I view failure as when I'm willfully disobedient, when I know there's something I shouldn't do and I do it anyway because it's going to provide me a little bit of pleasure for a short period of time, and then I'm going to regret it for a long time after. I know it seems ridiculous. It's part of the condition. It's part of the fact that we live. I'm a fallen human being in a fallen world, and yet I have divine intervention in my life that changed me and before I was born again, I could do nothing but sin. All I did was sin. And now I have through me, as do all of those that are born again as well. And what will we do with that? That's the big question. All of us need to come up with an answer for. I prefer an accurate answer. I would want to know. I want to know the truth about it. I think this would be a good place to do a U-turn. Now, I was on Highway 9 going out of town, and I'm going to head on back. And Highway 9 is the way we would come in when we were loaded down with our Volvo 240 family truckster, loaded with a third seat and children and all of that. Pets, sometimes. Yes. So Highway 9 is a road that we've traveled before. A lot. And now we'll be heading into the sunrise. It actually takes a lot of money to build an infrastructure like this, with roadways, railroads, overpasses, and all of that, as I'm sure you can imagine. And then to have the tankers that are moving fuel. Oh, wow. So my stream was interrupted, but I'm back. So the mathematical equation that exists in our lives, if I don't spend it, I don't have to make it or find it, that kind of thing. So I operate on a low budget. If I had more to work with, like a lot more, I would do a lot of things different. It's one of my friends, he's got a surf rack on his truck. Anyway, I would like to see, rather than the wars and the destruction of human life and property, resourcing people to have fruitful labor, to grow their own food and to live healthier and be creating harvesting their own electricity needed to operate their lives, to live their lives. Electric vehicles work fine if you're accessing the 0-point energy field, including water, generated electricity, and combustion. The byproduct of hydrogen, oxygen, HHO combustion that this car could run on entirely. I could run this car on water and there would be no pollution at all. They don't want that. They don't want that. Okay, so when I found out that we had virtually free energy and they were suppressing it and blaming overpopulation, too much burping, farting, and using too many people using too much stuff and eating too much meat and all of what they assert, I'm simply saying those bastards are lying, and I'm telling on them. They suppress the technology that could free humanity from the enslavement that they're putting us on or in or around us. It's a prison for your mind. I've been an outside the box thinker my whole life. I'm talking about what I can talk about, and in a broad way, covering a lot of controversial topics. This is all very relevant, but they don't want to have a healthier, happier world. They want to destroy humanity, and apparently AI is being used by Satan and the fallen angels and Satan's children to try and destroy humanity. I'm using AI and every other resource that I can to expose the truth about it all. Hand out invitations for eternity. Help people to consider there's a power way greater in this world than the fallen one and his family. The Almighty is all-knowing and all-powerful. Boom. So you can take all your magicians, deceivers, and they can go and do what they're going to do, what they can do. The Almighty is going to restrict them somewhat, and I believe we're in the Revelation 20 short season when Satan was released from the pit, and we're looking at unprecedented evil all around us. If you can't see it, I'm sorry. Maybe you'll see it later. Maybe you can see it. Some would say and do, what can I do about it? I'm doing it. I'm doing what I can do about it. What it is for you to do may be very different. I just simply want people to make an informed choice, to know what's really going on, and that helping people to find that out is really important. How does it all fit together, and what can we do? No matter how many of these actual conspiracies people figure out, it will profit you nothing if you lose your soul. What can a man give in exchange for his soul? What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? Jesus says that to everybody forever. I remember seeing that on a silo, a big concrete food silo for cows in Wisconsin while I was growing up, and I thought, what about that? I wanted to know if that was all true, because either Jesus who he says he is, or he is not. I believe he is. I believe he's the Almighty in human flesh. I've got people I know, or there are people I know that I've spent many hours on the phone with, and they don't get that. They don't believe that. I'm sorry that that's their take on it. I can't make it happen for anybody. So I believe in what's called the doctrine of election, predestination, where the Almighty determines who his children are. Before the foundation of the world, well, our names were put in the Lamb's Book of Life. Oh, when I did the interview yesterday, she asked me to take my sunglasses off. I said, oh, all right. But I've got them on now. I don't always wear them, but they look cool. They cover up my eye wrinkles. Yes. So I've got a personal detox protocol where I bathe in reverse osmosis drinking water that's got a ground wire from my electrical system going into the tub, so it's electrically grounded. That drinking water, I will add powerful electrolytes to it. This is my current blend. You can use your own discretion if you want to do it and what you put in the water or not. I put in a tablespoon of the following: boron, which is borax. I get it at Walmart. You can get it online if you want. Magnesium sulfate. I get it at Costco. It's Epsom salt. Calms the nerves. The boron, these all are electrolytes, meaning they have electrical properties, and anti-parasitic, antifungal. Fungus is a parasite, and that's another deep rabbit hole. Those are two of the solutions. Baking soda, I get it from Costco or Sam's Club. Remember, a tablespoon of these. A healthy full spectrum sea salt. It's got a lot of elements in it. Very healthy. Apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, and then 7 drops of each of the 2-part chlorine dioxide water purification drops. They kill parasites in the water, if there would be any. It's a water purification that you can get at camping sections at different locations. I get mine online. They use it for water treatment. I use it for my own water treatment. I like it so much, I'll take a coffee cup out of my 5.5 gallon container of water that I've put all that in, and add the drops to that too and drink it. It's just fine. Now, when I refill my 3 stock pots, I'll add a tablespoon of that full spectrum sea salt, add the purified water, put it on the stove, and turn it all the way up on high. I'll take my spa treatment where I use a deep tissue massage, and that healthy sea salt helps hydrate my cells, my body at a cellular level. If a person drinks too much water with not enough electrolytes, it doesn't hydrate the cell at a cellular level the way it's supposed to. I've got backup for all of that what I just claimed, what I just told you. I've got documentation for it all. So if you want to learn about health, wellness, neuroscience, world government, world central banking, I've got it all on my channel. I've got the experts. I've got the people that are enslaving humanity with it. I'm showing them. And then I'm showing you if you want. If you want to look at it, you can see it. Because the truth matters. The more important the question that you've got, the more important an accurate answer is. So I am inviting other people's feedback, including yours. Feel free to send me a private message if you want. A phone call, a text to my phone is another good way of doing that. So I'm wanting to invite people into that process, and then I'm wanting to freely share it worldwide. And I'll use that system to do it. It's a digital pitchfork, so to speak. Right now, there's a lot of people rising up and expressing their displeasure with world government in a big way. And some of them are going to be burned up. They're going to be assassinated. Could be me. I don't know. It would only validate more of what I was doing if some strange thing happens to me. Heck, even if it's a heart attack or something, I'm super healthy. So something like that would be largely allowed by the Almighty and caused by, I believe, the forces that want to shut me up. The clue that it was an attempt to outright silence me is if all of the activity that I've been working on putting together on multiple platforms, if that were removed too. that would be your clue. So if you want, I rather than wearing the truth shirt, I'll have the lanyard. I'll have it around my neck. It just bumps into my mic cord when I'm recording, so I typically don't have it on now. It doesn't need to be. And that's a anytime number if you want. How many YouTubers can you call? I don't know. It's not easy to get a hold of some. Some don't even have an email where you could reach out to them. Now, it used to be that my library had over 100,000 videos. What I had done is added playlists to my library. Well, a while back they made all that private. So people could go to the channel that I'm featuring, whether it's in a video that I've featured of theirs or whether it's a featured channel, and you can see what they've got there. If it's really powerful information that I want to share, I'll just add it to my 10,000 playlist videos. I've got 2 playlists that have 10,000 videos in them, and the reason why I want to keep those 2 playlists and just add to it and remove as it becomes relevant and manage it that way is because those playlists are they're pre-located. I sent them to the World Economic Forum, to Elon, to many others, and I don't want to just go and delete those or add to it. So somebody could learn about intermittent fasting. If somebody's obviously would benefit from losing weight, that isn't going to be my leading. If I meet them in public, I may just hand them my card and say, you might find my channel very interesting. Guaranteed to blow your mind. So do you have enough power to do what you're created to do? I don't know who you are exactly, unless you tell me who you are and we have a conversation. I'm not real big on chatting back and forth, texting. I prefer audio conversations. I may answer a chat and I'm off doing something else. How do I know if they're still chatting? Because I take a break from that interaction. It's too much. I've got almost 500,000 notifications that I don't know what they're about. If it's really important, they can call me or text me. And email me too and say, hey, there's an email coming your way. It's virtually, pun intended, virtually impossible to hide our identity, location, or what we're about. Where we are, what we're doing, what we say we're doing, what we really believe is largely evidenced by what we actually do. I'm going to pull into the boat landing. Now the boat landing, I'll leave some of this. Let me show you what it looks like as I go on in there. Water tower up in the middle of the view. Can rent kayaks here, and they take them to North Myrtle Beach as well, and people go paddling around in the waterway, the coastal preserve, and all that. Now, not too long ago, when we had a lot of rain, this was underwater in here. And a few years ago, it was flooded over the top of the roadway. Okay, so the surface of undisturbed, unmanipulated water is flat and level. I'm going to show you a liquid mirror right in front. And there's the sun down below and up above. Isn't that pretty? So that was one of the clues that I found out, is the way that that water actually works. So if we were spinning 1,000 miles an hour, that water would be flying all over the place. So would we. So would the contents of the porta potty right there. That's just the way it would work. So people use a lot of fancy words around their deception, and I'm simply calling that out. Calling bullshit on it. I've got some bullshit at home. It's from my plants. They gave it, a lady at a yard sale gave it to me. That was so nice. So I went there and got a couple plants, and she gave me some shit. It was awesome. How about that? So I'm gonna pull on up here, and I want to take us for a little walk. Let's see. You can have a picnic here if you want. So it may be a little bit of a bumpy ride when I carry the phone without the tripod. However, I'm able to do things with it that I can't do if it's on the tripod. So this is part of the visual that people will see. When they like or don't like my driving, they can call me if they want. That's totally cool. I don't mind. Thanks for tuning in, all of you that are still there. That's awesome. Appreciate it. We can't see the wind, but we can see the effects of the wind. How does sound work? It's like a vibration going through, and we register it in our ears, cochlea, the brain. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Got some texture here, so it's easy to back up. Otherwise, it would be real slippery, and that'd be a bummer. That could be rough. Okay, let's see what this looks if I drop it all the way down. And then when I walk out on this walkway, there will be a little bit of vibration, I'm sure. I'm going to try and sneak out there a little bit. For people loading and unloading, they've got a nice ramp here. So you could take a wheelchair. This right now is on the ground, so it's not going to pivot the way it will right here. Now when I cross on over there, it's going to start making some ripples. There they are. And so why are these so tall? Well, because sometimes the water gets really deep here. This is the Waccamaw River connected to the Waccamaw Swamp. What's funny is I have there are people I know personally that believe I just did too many drugs and I'm confused and don't get this. I'm thinking, oh, and they're globers. They're globing it. They're deceived and they don't know it. And they're proud and they've got a lot of stuff and a lot of money and they're deceived and they're promoting the global lie. The reason why it matters, if somebody can legitimately say with a straight face they believe we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour and orbiting at over 66,000 miles an hour and all the contradictory supposed movement that's going on, if they believe that, just means they're deceived. I was good at remembering and regurgitating all that deception. It was part of an indoctrination that I got unplugged from. So what does Morpheus say? Unfortunately, nobody can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it. You have to see it for yourself. And once we see it, we can't unsee it. It's not possible. And we can't, I'm just compelled to keep on going with it. I can't stop it. Not that I would want to. I want people to make an informed choice. It's an apparent choice because the Almighty removes the veil from in front of the eyes and heart of His children. Once we see it and are born of the Spirit, we can't go back, nor would we want to. So the primary purpose of my life is to know and expose the truth. That's why I've got the Truth Mobiles and I drive around and will meet people and talk to them and hand out invitations for eternity. Oh, so like I was saying, when we had the flooding, I've got photos of it in my Facebook part of my research library. The water was well over the top of that bridge by about 4 or 5 feet above it. There were 2-story houses in locations that had deer on top of the roof. One of my nephews was helping a senior citizen cut wood, and the man had a heart attack and died right in front of him. Well, as tragic as that is, what's also tragic is the manipulated weather and people control that's going on, modifying the weather and the people. So I'm exposing that. Some of those same globe spinning, wobbling, and gyrating globe believers say they can't control the weather. It's like, I'm sorry, man, it's declassified. I've got evidence of it, but since you don't look at what I give you to consider, what good is that to you? It's not effective for you. So, like I say, people have what's termed as confirmation bias, where they look for what they either currently believe or want to believe. For those people, all I have is the truth, and I'm exposing it along with the deception. It's all there, and they're going to need divine intervention to be able to figure it out. Of course, they believe Jesus is a fairy tale too, because we evolved from monkeys after a big explosion, and bam, we got 2 tiny amoeba and all this stuff. I said to him, where did all this stuff come from? Where did you get the water and the dirt and the rocks and all of that? Where'd that all come from? They don't have a good answer. They can't. It upsets their whole model of do what thou wilt. Aleister Crowley. They want to do their own thing. Oh, wow. Well, that's just too flippin' bad. They'll find out eventually, but then it's too late. Apparently, that's the word that I heard. Tesla Model Y there. It sees the Truth Mobile. Not just the occupant of the car, the supercomputer Grok or the Dojo computer. I've watched the Tesla Autonomous Day, Battery Day. I've audited the courses. I've reached out to employees at Tesla and SpaceX and got myself blocked from people at SpaceX. By the way, Elon apparently personally interviews all of his SpaceX employees. I passed his test, by the way. One of his questions he asks about if you drop a rock out into the water out of a boat, what happens to the water level? Yeah. Well, it's very minute, but there's a change. Anyway, so I don't know it all. I don't claim to know it all. I know who does. He gave me new life. He gave me a passion, purpose, an eternal perspective, the power to do what I previously couldn't do, the pleasure to enjoy it all, even though it's really unpopular. And that's powerful. It is life-changing. The back of that motorhome has Elvis on it. Thank you very much. All of the artists, pretty much, the artists, performers, the so-called movie stars, they have been involved in a large social engineering program for a long, long time. How about that? So right there is my bank that I belong to, or have what little I have left in there. And I get to drive this car because I keep paying $176.24 a month so I can have this vehicle. And it's economical for me. But like I say, it's more than economical. I couldn't do this if I didn't have the car. I wouldn't be driving around in the Lexus because I would have burned up about $30 worth of gas, and this is about 1/5 that amount. So how about that? I don't have my, where is it? I don't have my garage door opener on my phone. I don't want it linked up like that. I just keep it in a little plastic bag because I ride the motorcycle. I don't want it to get wet when I've got it in my top pocket. So interestingly enough, that will activate my door, and then I can put this on in there, which I will. I gave one of our kitties a ride yesterday. Oh, here comes the duck. How cool. She's going to check up on her eggs. She was in my video the other day. I'll show you in just a moment. She and the male duck he's going to show her the location she picked. Yep, she's climbing on there right now. I'll sneak around the corner and show you. I think I'm over a little too much. That beeping sound. I would think that's the daddy right there. And here she is. Hi there. How are you? Yeah, she just moved in there. It's just the way it works. Over and over again. So here's what I've noticed about the globe believers. There's a couple of different categories at least, but one category is people that have never been told any different. They don't even know to look at it, and it's like, really? They lied about that? Yeah, they lied about that. And then there's the people that are told and they refuse to look any further. They refuse to look into it. And you know what they are? Reality deniers. They may be hanging out at the bars. They may be doing all kinds of different drugs, or they just might be in denial and don't want to look into any of it. So that's the way that is. So I want to thank you all for your public and private encouragement. I've got to go and look at those comments on the live feed. I typically haven't gone back because I get busy doing other stuff. So if it's really important, give me a call. Be happy to talk with you. This is Robert Forsch with The Truth about everything. Thank you so much.